I was actually
Welcome.
bopping to your intro. It's quite a bop.
Hold on. Let me bring you on here. Welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And as most of you know, March is Women's History Month. And I'm pleased to announce that voice you heard, that excited voice you heard, is a powerful and interesting woman that I get to interview on my show today. My next guest isn't just any woman, though. She is the child of immigrants, one who's worked hard to get herself a slice of the American dream. More than a few articles have been written in the Washington Post, in Vanity Fair, Huffington Post, about this four-time Princeton president, class president, a Biden delegate, and Philly resident who has run for Congress twice. And while not successful, her indomitable spirit has kept her solidly on the path to seek to help her fellow American. Her Twitter account now packs a punch of almost 200,000 followers, where she is most certainly not soft-spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you my friend, Lindy Li. Lindy, thank you for coming on the show.
I need to talk to you when I need a self-esteem boost, honestly. Get better than therapy. Inject me into my veins. You're just,
I heard you said you were jamming during the
it's
the
quite
intro.
a bop. You got to warn me. I was like, partying here.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So now I did tell you, while this show tends to be more on the lighthearted side, I have been known from time to time to ask the hard-hitting question. And I have some for you today. You
I'm
ready?
bracing myself, though.
Here's the first one. This is a serious one. Raise yourself. It says vegan on your bio. What does that mean? No pizza? No Philly cheesesteak?
Hey, nothing. No, I live on tofu and vegetables and water. And guess what? Please don't hate me, but I don't even drink alcohol. I'm the cleanest living person ever. I care a lot about running. Yeah, that's not for me. But that looks possibly vegan. That could be vegan.
So no butter, no cheese.
Good at the plant-based stuff. You never know, BDD. That could be vegan.
Wait, so butter and cheese, it's got to be plant-based? Is that the idea?
No, that's not plant-based. Fish isn't either. But I run marathons and I run 6 miles a day, and my mile time has been better than ever. I can run a 6-minute mile, and I wasn't able to do that when I was a carnivore like you.
So your bio does mention that you are a runner. You said you run 6 miles per day?
I'm actually going to do that right after we leave. Yeah, I already have my clothes out and everything. Gotta hustle.
I think my hat is off to you, because I think if I attempted to do 2 miles, they'd be carrying me away on a stretcher.
You just got to start. I'm not built to be a runner. I'm not, but it's just like, honestly, willpower and self-discipline. It's just and I don't do drugs, but surprisingly, but the endorphins are my drug. It's my.
That's the runner's high. Am I right?
It's incredible. I feel like I'm doing ballet on the pavement.
Really?
Sometimes it's just, if I can do that, I can do anything. I run in 10-degree weather and I want to shoot myself. And after you get through something like that, you feel, like you said earlier, indomitable.
When does that runner's high kick in? Is that like halfway through? Is it immediately you feel it? I actually
have a landmark, by the fountain, by the Philadelphia Free Library. It's almost to the Rocky Steps by the Art Museum. Wow. Around that time, I'm like, FML, I shouldn't have worn so much. Because
you're by the Rocky Steps?
Yeah, I live in Center City, so I go by the Rocky Steps every day. But that's not far enough for me. I have to go down by the river.
Do you do the Rocky thing? Do you do that, or is
I don't. No, I don't go up the stairs. But yeah, I go down. Yeah, it's very historic. But and actually, this is gonna be a little sentimental, but I run by the Ukraine flag every day, because the Avenue of the Arts has all the flags of the countries, and it's always very moving for me to run past Ukraine, the United States, And
Are you seeing a lot of Ukrainian residents that you didn't normally see before out, like, just out and about, wearing their colors, or can you even tell?
I actually have a number of Ukrainian friends through politics and people who are engaged. So I've gotten to know them over the years. But also when I'm running, I just want to let you, the Philadelphia Art Museum is now blue and yellow. It's like actually blue and yellow.
Wow.
It's
nice.
Incredible how much the city has rallied in support of Ukraine. It's very touching, and I'm glad. A lot of buildings around here are now actually blue and yellow.
Now, I hate to get, as much as I hate to get off the Ukrainian thing, I do have some of that later to ask you about.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I wanted to stick with the Philly thing, because you did mention that you are from Philly, and I interviewed Malcolm Nance on the show here. And so I've recently been watching these shows like Bel Air, it's about the Fresh Prince, and
The reboot?
Abbott. Yes. And Abbott Elementary. And these are two shows that are based in Philadelphia, and they are using the word John and Bull. And I was wondering, is this something that you're aware of? This
absolutely.
jargon?
It's just a thing. You say it whenever you want. And
you do too.
Well, I mean, I try to be, I'm just not cool enough. I don't have the chop, to be honest. But, there's a Philly attitude that everyone has. Our motto is no one likes us, we don't care. And I actually saw this amazing slogan. It's like, I'm not angry. I'm just from Philly. Like this attitude, this fury. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just a Philadelphian. Like, don't mess. It's in our DNA. Like, having been here since I was 8, 9, it's like deeply programmed into me. It's like, you're Brooklyn Dad Defiant. It's like Philadelphia Defiant. Don't even
I got you.
Don't even try.
So your parents immigrated from, I want to see if I'm pronouncing this right. Is it Chengdu?
Chengdu. I'm actually, I was born there. It's where the pandas are from. It's the only place in the world where pandas live naturally. Other pandas that you see come from Chengdu.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is a fun fact.
It's our claim to fame. And Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Yes.
It was filmed there. It's like the two things people know about this city. Yeah.
I did not know that
all
before.
All the bamboo in the city, that's because it's a natural habitat of the pandas.
I believe this is a picture of your dad. Is that Richard?
Yeah. Wow, 2015. That's when I didn't have eyebrows. If you look closely, there's like nothing there. I overdid it.
I can't tell.
When you're in your early 20s and you just have no idea. I overpuffed.
Let me ask you this: as an immigrant, how does that affect your perspective on how we should go about fixing immigration?
First of all, I just want to say I'm so thankful to be American. I think I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Just hope that the people who would arrest me aren't listening. In China, I probably would be detained just because I have such a loud mouth and they're authoritarian. And like you said, I'm not a shrinking violet, and they want shrinking violets there. And so first of all, I'm incredibly grateful, and I'm keenly aware of our freedoms because I used to live in a totalitarian. Oh my God.
Totalitarian.
Exactly. Thank you for saving me. I'm actually going red. I'm so embarrassed. But the contrast is stark for me. I feel it viscerally. So my parents and we actually waited for years to get a visa. That's why we were in England.
Wow.
So we actually went through the entire process. My dad was a medical doctor. So it took us years to get a visa. My dad ended up at Harvard Medical School where my brother was born. We went to Connecticut and then Boston and then Pennsylvania. So yeah, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to immigrate here because I would not be who I am today. America gave me everything. I owe everything to this country. My brother is a natural born citizen and I love him. He's the best and he's probably the best brother you could ever ask for. But one thing I have to say is I think I have a deeper appreciation of all that America means than he does, simply because I experienced the opposite. And I know, I know what it's like not to have Google or Facebook, or not to really know about I'm going to get into so much trouble here, man. I should stop talking. But, not to know about certain subjects because it's like erased from the internet.
That's funny. You know what? I just assume that everybody that is younger than me, has grown up with those things. It didn't occur to me that, that you remember life before Google and cell phones and stuff like that. That's kind of
well, it's not just life before, it's life during, but they took it away. You know what I mean? Like, because you have to use a VPN and they might mess with your VPN too.
Yeah, I don't even.
It's just I was actually there in 2014, and Instagram is still available. Like a few months later, it was gone.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Wow. It's not available anymore. Nothing's available.
Do you remember your time in England, in the UK?
I remember coming to Connecticut and then getting bullied because I used to call erasers rubbers. That's what British call them, but little did I know the other meaning of rubbers. And also, I used to say, may I go to the toilet, which is apparently taboo in the United States. But in England, that's what you say.
Yeah, I can't imagine. It's so weird that Americans would feel like, holier than thou or better than thou,
yeah,
for like something as silly as like a toilet,
Yeah, they were 5, so I'm going to give them some credit. Like I was being bullied, but these people are like 5 years old, so.
Well, I'm assuming that you took that bullying, you internalized it, and you used it as fuel to propel yourself into what ended up being a serious stay at Princeton University. You were 17 years old when you won your first election as class president. How awesome was that?
Thank you. I'm looking at that picture and oh my, the tanning went really bad. Not sure what happened there. But yeah, I remember standing under the cherry blossom trees at Princeton and thinking, this is going to sound incredibly corny, but it was actually what I did. I was on the phone with somebody and I thought I have to do something to distinguish myself here. And I did. I remember it being a rainstorm and I went around just like knocking on doors, and my classmates can attest to this. A lot of them were I love them now and we've known each other for many, many years, but a lot of them were mean. Like I was just a 17-year-old kid. They never seen me before. Like, what the hell are you doing at my doorstep? But I knocked on their doors and handed out candy. Does that constitute bribery? But anyway,
yes.
It's
good bribery. It's good.
And yeah, I knocked on hundreds and hundreds of doors and it happened. And actually it's been how many years now? I've been I'm still alumni class president. So it's been like 14 years, almost 15 years. It's the longest ever of the university. It's a fluke. I'm like a mutant in the environment.
Now they told you that you had no chance of winning. Do you remember the criticism that they were feeding you back then?
At
when they said when they said you couldn't run for class president.
I was one of 2 women. We were actually girls then, to be honest, not even a woman. But that's something that I hear even to this day. Like anytime I want to do something, people tell me that it's not realistic. And I mean, BDD, you're no stranger to this either. And that's why you're so, successful and prominent, because you never let any naysayers get in your way. And just we should alchemize that doubt into greatness, like alchemize that pain into art and our dreams. Take those bricks and build a gosh darn kingdom. I'm sanitizing my language for your audience. But
you don't have to sanitize. You can say whatever. You can say shit, fuck,
Oh, good. Thank you.
Now, after you won your first election, you went on to win 3 more consecutively I mean, that you were like the
I
first
actually
person.
kept winning though, like it never ended. I have to run every 5 years now
You were
as
the
alumni
first.
class president.
You were the first woman to do that at Princeton. Is that
Thank
correct?
you. Yeah. I think I was in the right place at the right time. Like the misogyny wasn't that bad, you know. And you know, people's views are changing. I don't know. I just think people could really tell that I genuinely cared. Every time I do something, I don't do it in a half-baked manner. I go for it. You know, I also really value my friends. I try to take care of them. I never forget the people who are kind to me. It's just very, you know, I really, loyalty is the currency of my realm, and I think people see that. I don't know. I just, you know, I really care. I always do things to the max. You know, sometimes to my detriment.
That leads me to my next question: is that you were involved in doing activism things for the climate crisis while you were at Princeton.
Oh,
can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually worked with Al Gore on something called Do It in the Dark campaign. It sounds risque, and that's the whole point.
It's a hilarious
turn off
phrase.
the goddamn lights when you're doing it.
Do it
you know, save the electricity. And so, you know, we honestly, the point was to get college students to do it in the dark and see who could do it in the dark the most. You know, and turn off the lights, close the windows. Oh, you know, those, you know, when we were teenagers, we were incredibly entitled. We would open the window, and when it was like 5 degrees out, don't do that. Just don't. And so we incentivize good behavior, and whichever residential college reduced the energy consumption those would get ice cream or frozen yogurt or whatever it was. So, you know, bribery was unleashed. Yeah, definitely. But our purpose was achieved.
Did you have like concrete goals, like that you could, like, quantifiable energy goals?
Yeah, we inaugurated this program across the country. It wasn't just my college, but colleges around the country. So it became a nationwide program, and some people are still doing it to this day. Like a lot of colleges, incredible. I know, like Dartmouth's still doing Do It in the Dark. It's just a fun way to get people to be more aware of their own energy consumption, and also to get people to realize that no, it's not just up to the government. Everyone can make an individual impact. You know, some people call me an eco-terrorist because I go off turning off lights. Like I used to go off turning lights in my building and turning off the gym lights. And why does the gym light need to be on at 4 o'clock in the morning? There's no one there.
See, where I'm from, they don't call it eco-terrorist. They call it being a dad. Means you got bills to pay. Turn these damn lights off.
Exactly. I've noticed that my energy bill has gone up over the past month or so, right? You've noticed it too?
Yeah.
This isn't just a matter of climate change. It's a matter of saving money. Be smart. Turn off the lights. If you're not in the room, turn off the lights. And,
Indeed.
You know, save a tree, perhaps. You could probably save a tree over a few years by turning off the lights.
Lindy, let me ask you this. Do you think now everybody is focused on energy and energy consumption? Why? Because our wallets, our pocketbooks are being squeezed, partially because of the crisis that we're looking at, but also a lot of this stuff was already kind of in motion. You know, the inflation thing, it was in motion because we came out of a pandemic and all that. Is now the right time for climate activists to really stand up and lean into the whole, you see, now we're reliant on oil. Now we should be moving hard left towards, you know, green technology and.
Absolutely. Honestly, we should have done this decades ago. And, you know, being in Daddy Putin's thrall is never a good idea. And we still have people saying, drill, baby, drill. No, I mean, come on. We should be doubling down on renewable energy and wind and solar and everything else. This is not the time to, you know, pave the way for another Deepwater Horizon. I just remember in 2010, all the oil that was gushing into the ocean every single gosh darn day. And just, we cannot afford another disaster like that. And the people on the right who just keep on saying we need to double down on fossil fuel consumption, and the coal kings in our own party. I mean, you know, everyone knows who I'm talking about. But you know, they're pulling us backwards. They have this "I'll be gone, you'll be gone" mentality. You know, I'm so rich, and in 30 years I probably won't be around, so I'm just going to live it up and like screw everybody else. That attitude is why we are today. Yeah, there we go.
You were featured. I believe this might have been part of an article that you had written. This says
it was an interview. Actually, I remember it. It was right after I met Al Gore in Dublin and the President of Ireland. It was part of the Climate Justice Foundation. And actually, I'm not sure if this is relevant, but my friend who flew me from Dublin actually just passed away 2 weeks ago. He was Dianne Feinstein's husband. We actually met there, and we were discussing everything we could do to mitigate climate change. And he was incredibly dedicated, and may he rest in peace. Yeah, he just died from lung cancer, but that's where we met. So this is a huge part of our lives, and the entire overarching message is students can make a difference. It's not just up to adults. It's just not just up to corporations. But if everyone had the mentality that they could make a difference, imagine 300 million people thinking that they can make a difference. What a difference that could be. You know, it's just the accumulation of everyone's individual attitude is an avalanche. And everyone has to understand that they matter. It's also with voting, and people are like always saying, "Oh, my vote doesn't count." But like 300 million people thinking their vote doesn't count. Oh yeah, you know, it matters a hell lot.
It does. It does. Exactly. Your quote here says, "Your actions matter. Small steps through seemingly insignificant when measured singly, exert enormous force when measured together. Individuals can and do make an important impact every day." And I think that's, in a nutshell, I think that's what your climate message is. That's what your message in life is.
When I wrote that, I didn't think anyone would ever read it. So thank you so much. You just, honestly, I need to come to you when I'm, you know, feeling down about life, and just, you're a pick-me-upper. Thank you for you, BDD.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Steve Carell.
Oh my God, Steve!
Speaker. Yeah. He was the speaker at your graduation. Was your speech bumped for his?
No. So this is what happened. If you can tell, there's a tent above us. It was.
I see you right there. There's that blue arrow on the screen there. That's you.
Yeah, that's me. That's me with the really bad tan. But if you can tell, it's like really rainy and dark, and. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but the dean of the university, whom I love now, shout out to Dean Dunn. But anyway, Dean Dunn said, you got to send out your speech as a PDF because the rain is too hard. And I turned to Steve. I was like, they're trying to kick me off. I waited for this year for 4 years. Can you imagine them telling a guy you can't give their speech? Like, honestly, can you imagine that? Like, all my predecessors were tall and funny and like confident, and I was the opposite of that. And I felt like they wouldn't have treated somebody else this way. And it wasn't just the only instance of, I think, just differential treatment. And so I turned to Steve. I was like, you know, I feel like I'm heartbroken over this. You're telling me to send out my speech as an email instead of giving it. And he's like, you know what? You're on live TV. You go up there and give your speech. And I went up there and I gave my speech. I did. And it was incredible. I was, you know, people came up to me later on and they were like crying. I remember at prom, I had parents coming up and grandparents saying, we want to live through you through the eyes of our own children. It was just the stuff that I heard that night. It was incredible. And I knew as I was standing there, I was going to run for office.
Wow.
Well, you know, sitting here today, it's just, I don't know. It's just life, you know, life comes at you hard, but
Steve Carell.
But the lesson of that day was, don't listen to people who try to snatch away your dreams. I worked hard for that moment. It's a long time ago, but I definitely bring the attitude even today. You know, when people say that I can't do something, you go for it.
That's right. Good for you for not
And
taking.
this is actually another thing that I've really never told anyone. Someone tried to extort me for a huge sum of money, and the lawyers that I spoke to said, just pay him something to go, make him go away. But I was like, I don't even really know this guy. Like, I don't owe him anything. But they said it's cheaper to just settle than to fight it out. And I'm like, isn't that bribery? Can't anyone do that? And they were like, this is how the American legal system works. But guess what? I interviewed 20 lawyers. Every lawyer told me the same thing. Actually, yeah, every lawyer told me the same thing. But one of them was my neighbor, and I said, you got to help me with this. And he agreed to help. And we fought, and the judge yelled at the person who tried to sue me, and it was dismissed with prejudice, which means that he can't bring it up again. He got yelled by the judge for wasting everyone's time. And so instances like this teach me I follow my gut. I don't let people stomp over me, take advantage of me. It's just you just got to fight for it. Just because someone tells you no doesn't mean you got to listen. Unless
Well, you were at Princeton. First of all, I'm not sure if this is a picture from Princeton.
Afterwards, afterwards.
But I'm going to use this picture for my question about Princeton, and that is, did you experience bigotry while at Princeton?
That's so interesting. To be honest, I don't think I did. I did in high school. I don't think I did here. I genuinely love, I don't think I experienced outright bigotry. You never really know, but I never felt, I was their class president. They kept electing me. So I never really, I don't think I experienced discrimination there, but I used to go home in tears in high school. I actually remember the girl. Yeah, I'm not going to call her out and get her in trouble, but she made my life miserable. I had this one girl that got mad at me because I didn't have good notes in history.
Shame her.
I remembered it. What did you say?
Shame her. Call her out.
No, I wish her well. I wish her well. I don't harbor any animus. I'm just saying, I went to an all-girls school, so it was brutal, man. I actually developed an eating disorder. We don't have to go into that, but it was just really hard time for me. This girl was upset because I didn't have to take notes in class. It's not my fault that I remembered it. I apologize for my brain. I don't know, but for whatever reason, she found it really offensive that I wasn't there like scribbling, notes.
Wow.
I don't know. Oh yeah, I left Wall Street primarily because of the overwhelming greed. I tried to start a recycling program at one of my previous employers. I don't want to name which one, but they didn't give a shit at all. They don't care about recycling.
Well, actually, I was going to ask you, this is a quote from you about college debt, where you said we have to do something about college debt. I don't know how you fished this one up, but I'm very impressed. Because I does my homework.
The FBI should hire you, man. This is really impressive stuff. This is like probably in the back room somewhere.
We have to do something about college debt because right now Wall Street has better interest rates than our students. This was a Philadelphia Inquirer interview. Now, have your feelings changed regarding?
Not at all. It might even be more strident. We are neglecting our students, and we shouldn't be sitting on $1.3 trillion of student loan debt. It's probably more now. But and then you have like Goldman Sachs, and they're making a killing off of Russian debt right now, like hand over fist while the Ukrainians are dying. That sort of mentality, we just don't need that. It's just like money over everything. That's the thing. There's no humanity left.
So what do you say to the people who complain and they say, well, why should I? Wait, are you hearing an echo?
I'm not. I just hear your luscious tones.
What do you say to the people who complain? Well, I paid my tuition. I had to blah blah blah. Why should we do away with debt for other people?
Perhaps we shouldn't do away with all of it. Perhaps we should do away with a substantial sum. I'm not saying it's like complete 100%, but right now, is it really fair to charge somebody $60,000, $70,000 for a degree and they don't have a job? They can't find a job. They're not employable. And especially with inflation being the highest it's been in 40 years. I mean, it's scary, man. And I feel, I personally, I actually don't have a horse in this race, but I'm deeply concerned about those of my generation who are struggling to buy a home right now because they have so much student loans, are struggling to start a family, to buy a car, to pursue their dreams because they're shackled by this debt. It's not just a top-down solution. We need a grassroots solution in terms of colleges charging so much. Do we really need another stadium on campus? That's part of the reason. Because you have like 15 rock climbing walls or whatever it is. Do you need that? Or should we focus on education and the basics and textbooks and the professors instead? So we have a lot of bells and whistles, and that's part of the reason why costs are going up. So we should approach this problem from multiple angles. It's not just Joe Biden canceling debt, which is part of it, but not all of it. It's also colleges being more fiscally responsible about what they're spending the money on.
Well, I'll tell you, me personally, as a dad who's helped put three boys through college, they're all finished. I am 100% in favor of eliminating that college debt. I've already paid, but I think, why should other people have to suffer, for this excess? It's excess.
Absolutely. It's unsustainable. And it's just really, a college education is a right. It shouldn't be a privilege in this country. And right now it's a right.
Indeed.
Just for a few. So it's just, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot, having an uneducated populace. We should be doing everything we can to make education accessible and high quality and everything. We see what happens when people are privy to conspiracy theories.
Oh my God.
I mean, we see it every single day. And that's the result of lack of access. Oh my God. I don't know where you find these things.
Does my homework. So you ran for a seat in Congress for Pennsylvania's 7th district. You would have been the youngest person elected to Congress since Elise Stefanik in both.
Actually, younger than her. I would have been 25. I think she was 20. I think she was 29 or 30 when she was elected, but I didn't win, so she has it. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. First of all, what's the state of politics in Pennsylvania? Is it diverse?
People call us Pennsyltucky, so it's like, let me explain. We call ourselves the Big T. The Big T is everything but Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. If you take out Philadelphia, you take out Pittsburgh, you have a T, the letter T that remains, and that's Trump country.
Oh, really?
So it's just, it's hard, man. It's tough. It's really rough. Yeah.
Take out Pittsburgh and Philly.
Pittsburgh, I believe that we're the bastions of sanity. What did you say?
You said you take out Pittsburgh and Philly, and that leaves a T?
You're left with the T shape, yeah. And that's just conservative. That's Pennsyltucky for you. It's like Kentucky, but up north. It's, they're very, very conservative. And right now, the talk of the town is Connor Lamb and John Fetterman. So
yeah. So do you have? What do you think?
I don't want to get in trouble because I've gotten in trouble before. I got in trouble with the Bernie Sanders and the Joe Biden stuff. I'm not doing this again, man. I'm really not. I learned my lesson. And I have people from both campaigns like reaching out. I'm not touching that. Not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
So I do remember you had some run-ins with the Bernie bros. They actually bullied you. They caused you to quit your job as treasurer of the Pennsylvania Young Democrats because of you retweeted a video where Bernie was kind of pumping up life in communist Russia. Are they still messing with you?
No, I think they realize that I'm actually not that bad. I have a lot of people, Bernie bros in my comments saying, we actually agree with you. This is weird. We don't want to like your tweet, but we agree with you. I've gotten a number of those. Like, we're not going to retweet this, but we're going to like it. We're actually aligned on climate, on, corporations. We're actually aligned on a lot. to be honest, like it caused me a number of health problems too. I know I'm smiling about it now, but it was a really tough period in my life because I felt like I was being accused of stuff that I didn't do. It was just very hard. It was very hard.
Yeah.
But they kind of left me alone, so I'm glad. Or they're actually being nice. And as I said, I don't harbor animosity. I'm happy to get along with anyone. So shout out to the Bernie Bros, I guess.
Well, you're a better person than me.
What did you say?
You're a better person than me. I mean,
what's
I don't know.
Like,
I don't like to hold a grudge either. That does take a lot of energy.
Skin, you get wrinkles. I mean, just not let it go.
Yeah, but
like that new Justin Bieber song with DJ Khaled, just let it go. I've been listening. Another bop, by the way. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's no point. Who benefits?
You have a ton of pictures with like everyone who is, I mean, your pictures are chock full of political movers and shakers. Everyone from, we got Mr. Senator Booker here, Senator Gillibrand, Katie Porter.
Yeah, that's me. That's my roof. She came over.
Oh, that's cool.
You can't see it, but there's like a swimming pool behind you. She's incredible. She's everything good that you've heard about her and more.
She's awesome. And then
oh my God, this is my really bad face. Yeah, this is me when I didn't have any eyebrows. But oh yeah, and then Tammy Duckworth is actually coming to my house on April 8th, and you are invited. And I'm excited to support her reelection. They threw up this random Republican candidate, but Tammy's got it. She's incredible. She's an amazing woman and a true American hero, and just has done so much for this country. And Ted is a longtime friend and just incredibly loyal and supportive.
Now, looking at all these pictures, I gotta ask the question: do you see yourself going for a national office at some point? I
can't ever be. I don't think I could ever, because I'm an immigrant.
Why?
So I'm confined to. If I'm.
Is that?
I can't be vice president. It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger problem.
Well, you could be senator, could you?
Yeah. So that's what I mean. I could be senator. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We still have the Pennsylvania problem, and the honest answer is, it's now like Simone Biles made it okay to talk about your mental health. I am really focused on my mental health. I don't know what happened, but as I've gotten older, I think I have, this is very vulnerable, but I sometimes have anxiety, and I don't want, running for Congress is the hardest thing one of the hardest things a human being could possibly do. You're torn asunder. People tear you apart. They think of you as a cartoon. They don't really care about you. They dehumanize you. They make up lies. They steal things. I've been exploited in so many ways, BDD, and
goodness.
I just don't know if I can deal with that psychologically. It's a lot, and as a 25-year-old doing it, it was just, I think I think I have like a mild case of PTSD from it. We don't need to go into the details, but I had things stolen from me, and I was betrayed, and I raised a lot of money, and people knew that. And so they took, as I mentioned, somebody tried to sue me for it.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. And so it's really down to whether or not I can maintain my mental peace, because nothing is worth that. Nothing, no amount, no public office is worth your soul, your psychological well-being.
That's right. Self-care is so important. It's so important. As you pointed out, Simone Biles kind of helped bring that to
so much love
the
to
national
Simone. Yeah,
consciousness.
she stigmatized it, and it's not that we're lazy. We're not. Running for office is the only way that you can make a success out of your life. It's just, it's hard as a woman, and especially with the Asian hate. two years ago at the start of the pandemic, you know how I run my miles? I was running one day and someone called me a Chinese bitch. And
oh my God.
It's just one of many incidences. And my mom got robbed and someone smashed her car. So these things seep into your consciousness.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. You know, I tell myself I'm not impacted by racism, but who am I kidding? Yeah. I mean, I hate playing the race card, but you know.
No, you know what? I would say reject that whole thing about the race card. Okay. They want you to feel guilty about playing the race card. They want to stigmatize you speaking up on behalf of yourself and calling them out for their racist bullshit. Reject that shit. You know, and I know when I walk through a supermarket and somebody gives me the stink eye, despite the fact that I'm dressed with a suit or whatnot, you think I'm going to shoplift something, you know, that bullshit. I've lived with that my whole life. And you too, you know what it is. So anyway.
Yeah, thank you. I need it. Oh, she's been incredible. We met at a lunch 7 years ago. Yeah, 7 years ago. And she's been so kind, always remembers, and just, she's incredible. Actually, I think the next photo, you don't have it, but she just gave me the most soul affirming hug. She's just incredible. A wonderful lady.
Yeah. And you know what? People give Nancy Pelosi a lot of shit, but I'll tell you something. She knows what the hell she's doing. We wouldn't have gotten half of the gains that we got without her in charge.
Oh, absolutely. You know? And I'm telling you, it takes a certain kind of woman to be able to do that. We take it for granted. I'm telling you now. I was just talking about running for office, but she's a Speaker of the House. Can you just imagine?
Look,
the shit that women have to deal with, not even just as a regular person. Okay, it's we don't have to. I mean, but being a woman is hard, man. It really is, and then just to be in her role, it's unimaginable to me. It's unfathomable.
Yeah. People have asked me in the past, would I ever run for office? I'm like,
you
hell
would be so good.
No.
But
I don't want it.
Your personality, though, you're electrifying. You know, you have that hit factor.
Here's the thing, Linda.
Who's your congressperson? You know, I'm like planning out your political future right now. Who is your congressperson?
Look. The thing is, I don't want it. I don't want it for the very same reasons that you have listed for, you know, the difficulty. Look, just on Twitter alone, I have enough trolls to last me a lifetime.
Yeah, but you have like a million followers, so
it
comes to the territory, though. You know, of course.
Yes, indeed.
It's like your kingdom. Oh,
Kamala Harris. I mean, you are hobnobbing with President Obama.
That was actually, I think, one of the happiest days of my life.
Yeah,
and you know, it wasn't the first time I met him, but I'm such a dope. I say the same thing to him. Obviously he doesn't remember, but I met him 3 times. I said the same thing to him, and I'm just gonna say it here. My friend Josh Shapiro. Shout out to Josh Shapiro here. He's running for governor of Pennsylvania, and every time I meet President Obama, I was like, "You and I have a mutual friend, Josh Shapiro." I say that every time. It's like my go-to thing. I don't plan it.
Your mind blanks out.
I should use this opportunity to say something like different, or maybe even like. But no, I don't know why Josh is always the first thing that pops into my mind, because I know that Josh and Barack Obama go way back.
I don't think it can be helped. I think if you meet somebody, you know, as big as President Obama, you can't be held.
Your mind goes to much.
Yeah, you can't
function. You know, it's like switch off. You know, it's just I have no brain cells left. It's like a default line.
I would like to think that, you know, if I were ever fortunate enough to meet President Obama, that I would say some deep shit, something really articulate, but really I'd be like, "You president."
Exactly. You think you're going to say something eloquent. You have this whole speech planned out, but it's going to be like, "I had eggs for breakfast." It's going to be something so dumb because you're so entranced and you're just so in awe and happy that you're with him.
He's an amazing
look
figure.
at that smile, that face. Oh, yeah.
I'm so jealous. First of all, I'm so jealous of you with all your pictures.
More pictures are coming now that I've been in hibernation, bro. But I'm coming back. I'm ready for a comeback. Just with the mask and everything and COVID, but we already have a lot of events planned. As you're coming over to my house on April 8th. We have Tammy, and then May we have an event. Can't talk about it, but I already mentioned it. So a lot of things are going on. I feel like I'm thawing. I feel like a bear that's just come out of its den after like a number of years. I'm going to work out my hair. I'm not used to this thing yet. This is like me in like beta phase. I'm ready.
Let me ask you. You mentioned COVID, right? How are you transitioning from pandemic to endemic, or have you even begun that transformation yet? It has to happen. It has. I know that there's more waves of COVID coming and more, but there's always going to be.
You heard about the BA2. I'm just done. I think you're gonna tease me for this, but I think being vegan really helped. I said it. I haven't been sick in like 5 years. I haven't even had a cold. I don't know. I feel really strong because the shit that I put in my body is really healthy.
You better knock on wood. I'm very superstitious. You better knock on wood when you say that.
Yeah, I'm knocking on wood. But no, I work. I only drink water and I run my miles and I live people call me a monk, but it really helps. I have routine. I'm very healthy and stuff. And so, I feel like I'm just waiting on the world. I'm not the one transitioning. I'm waiting for the world to transition. I've been ready for this. I've been ready to party for years.
So what I mean is mask, no mask.
I wear a mask when I'm supposed to wear a mask. But for example, at the event with Senator Duckworth you're coming to, we're not requiring masks. Mm-hmm. But we do want, everyone to be boosted.
I am fully boosted. Well, I actually only have the 3 shots. I have the first 2 plus the booster.
Excellent. I'm not worried about you. You're not on my worry list. I think the people who tend to support Senator Duckworth and Democrats are probably not conspiracy theorists, and they will probably, already have been vaccinated. So I'm not really worried about that. But I'm not, to be honest, I'm not one of those crazy lockdown people. I shouldn't say that. I don't mean to be mean, but I don't want to go overboard. There's a fine line between shutting down the entire country and being conscientious about COVID. So
I'm gonna say I've been saying this on my show a lot over the past few months, and it's like we're at the stage now where we know where everyone stands on whether they're in favor of mask mandates or they're against mask mandates. We know whether they're in favor of vaccine or against vaccine. We know where everybody knows where everybody stands. If you're wearing a red hat, most likely you're against the masks. And now I think we're at the point where we really have to be like, okay, well, I'm going to wear a mask. You're not. Good luck to you. We have to at some point start just living and let live, or live and let die, however it is. That's my personal feeling,
Yeah, I mean, you and I feel like we're on the same page about this, and we're just finding out that the people who are unvaccinated tend to be pro-Putin too. I don't know if you saw the Washington Post fears about that. It's just like the same camp of rabid conspiracy theorists. People who are anti-science tend to be pro-Putin's genocide. No wonder. I mean, they're susceptible to the disinformation. So at this point, other than getting boosted, I don't know what else we can tell these folks. Just after almost 3 years of this shit.
Yeah. So they're going to do what they're going to do, and we have to do what we're going to do. I don't want to fight that battle with them anymore. I don't. I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting my family. What else can I say?
Exactly. Right? Just at this point,
Let me ask you about. I understand that reproductive rights are very high on the list of issues that matter to you. Do you think it's one of the banner issues that Democrats should kind of lean into for victory in 2022?
Absolutely, if they care about the women's vote. It's just, can you imagine? Not to be graphic, but this is actually reality. Being raped as a 13-year-old in Texas, not being able to get an abortion, and being forced to possibly carry the child, the kid that was conceived by incest or rape. This is actually a scenario. This is not theoretical, but there was a girl who's 13 who was raped by her grandfather in Texas who would have been barred from getting an abortion. I'm not making up the scenario. It's been documented. And I actually tweeted about it. This is something, it's just so inconceivable to me. And I just want to say that they are now on a campaign to take away our birth control. And I want to be, again, this is a moment of vulnerability. I tend to have a lot with you, I guess. But
it's
so
okay.
I'm
that
a
happens.
runner. I run a lot and many miles, many miles. And it takes a toll on your body. And also I had, as I mentioned, I had an eating disorder in high school that, to be honest, never really goes away. You know, you manage it. But, you know, a part of you always wants to be perfect. And a part of you is always thinking that the extra pound is the worst thing in your life. And so I am on birth control partly because of health reasons. My gynecologist prescribed it to me because of, you know, my eating disorder. So a lot of men don't know that birth control isn't just for sex. It's to keep women alive and to keep them from having, you know, infertility or early onset osteoporosis and other conditions. Birth control is estrogen at the end of the day, and people don't know that. It's a misnomer. It should be, I mean, honestly, this is an estrogen pill. And they're trying to take that away from us. And in New Hampshire, cashiers can decide whether or not, you know, well, the New Hampshire House just passed a bill that would deny women the ability to get their birth control if the cashier's own religion opposes it.
It's insane. That is insane.
It is insane. So it's
That's
now
a law?
before the Senate.
That's a law in New Hampshire?
The New Hampshire House just passed it. I tweeted about it and went viral. And the governor said he would veto it, but we'll just have to cross the fingers for the fact that they won't get a veto-proof majority. But it's just insane to me that we are tumbling back into, you know, this isn't even the 1950s. I think it's like
The Handmaid's Tale. What
did you say?
Have you seen The Handmaid's Tale yet?
I haven't, because I feel like I would cry, and I haven't.
You might. I'll tell you this. You might, but it is an excellent show. Seriously, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, you watch TV to escape from reality, and I made a conscious decision to avoid it because it's so closely aligned to what's happening right now. You know, I grew up in an evangelical church. So this is doubly traumatizing for me because I feel like I'm being deprogrammed. I grew up as a Christian. You know, I went to church every Sunday. I went to youth group every Friday. So this stuff is like what did I get myself? So it's not just on a political level, but also just existential, because I grew up in the church and I feel like I've been betrayed in a way.
Yeah.
And
it pisses me off that so many men, people, you know, that don't have the equipment are weighing in and getting to decide what women do with their own bodies. And I think that's wrong. We should have no say in that debate whatsoever.
Honestly,
None.
If they take
Zero.
away the birth control, men will be up in arms too. A lot of men who don't want kids. Yeah. So, men have a horse in this fight as well. They should be on our side.
If you force men to get the snip.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. So I just a minute ago, I had your tweet up here. Now, I've seen more and more of these of your tweets. Your tweets are getting memed, right? Because they go viral. A lot of your tweets, they're going viral. So I wanted to do a thing here where we have Lindy Li's Twitter tips and tricks. You are undeniably, you are a mover and a shaker on Twitter. You know what the hell you're doing. All right. So for our viewers, I would love to hear from you a tip or a trick to let them, help them tweet better, help them get better engagement. What are some tips you can share with our audience?
Absolutely. I just want to say one thing, and you know that I wrote a book. And
yes.
People don't really know that I'm working on it. I'm still like finishing and everything. But so I think of my tweets as a work, not to be like totally out there, but I think of it as like a work of art. Like I actually put my heart into it. And every time there's a typo, I feel like one of my relatives died. It's just because I pour my soul into it, and I feel like it's a responsibility. I fact check everything. I try to, it's so hard to explain, but I try to find something that really tugs at your heart. And if it tugs at mine, I know it probably will tug at yours as well. And so it's just so genuinely authentic. I never do the raise your hand shit. You know what I mean? Like raise your hand, smash the like button. Please don't ever do that. And people will catch on.
Sorry, I'm guilty of that sometimes. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. But there's actually like
no, don't sweat it. I can admit my own shortcomings. That is a shortcoming.
But there's actually somebody, I'm not going to name names here, who's like pound the like button. I'm like, oh my God, please, please don't do that. But it's just everything that I say is so deeply authentic and I don't know. I have to be infinity% real and genuine. I think people pick up on that. They obviously do. I just and to just let things, just let the choppa sing. You know what I mean? I was just something that I thought about. I think more women should choose chaos. What I mean is like we should stop protecting our abusers or making excuses for bad behavior. We need to call it out. We need to stop being so afraid. We need to unlearn generations of enabling and making excuses. I don't know. I'm sorry that I don't have these like nifty, handy dandy tips. I feel like people should speak from their hearts.
Actually, so Lindy, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Lindy Li, and she has been kind enough to give us her time and her thoughts and her feelings. This is her Twitter handle right here, @Lindy Li. We're not done yet. I just want to make sure halfway through this that people get what they need to get, right? This is your Instagram. I don't know if you wanted me to give that out. I should.
Oh, no, I don't mind. Yeah, absolutely.
Instagram @Lindy_Li Li. Okay. So Lindy was kind enough to give us some Twitter tips and tricks. What she didn't realize is that she told us, 1, fact check. Make sure you check your facts. 2, give an emotional appeal. Make an emotional appeal with your tweets. That's what people will respond to. And number 3, she said, be authentic. Be your authentic self. Those are good. Those are solid. Solid advice.
Extract 3 things from all that gibberish. I'm impressed with you.
I was really listening.
Good at, getting down to the bottom of it.
I was listening, my friend. Here's another tweet of yours. Here's how we break it down here. First, you say how to reduce the deficit. Then a line break. Our last guest, our friend Horse Whisperer, Mike, he said you got to use line breaks, and that's what you did. I don't even know if you did this before that show. Strip Secret Service protection from anyone who incited an insurrection against the U.S. and from their parasitic kids, e.g. Ivanka Don Jr. End pension payments to all military staff who incited an insurrection. Looking at you, Flynn. Why pay for traitors? I love this tweet, by the way.
Thank you. And also something that I have a
Very
quirk,
well said.
And I think only one out of like all my followers noticed it. He called it out. I don't think you've noticed. I have a quirk in all my tweets. It's something that no one else really does.
What these?
I never use a period unless it's like a disaster. Yeah. No, I don't use periods.
Now I can't unsee that. Let's see.
Never, yeah. Oh, wait, no, I did that for dramatic
one.
effect. I actually struggled over that one.
Interesting.
I did. But
I didn't notice that.
That was for dramatic effect. But if you look at my tweets, there are no periods unless it's within a line to make it less confusing. But you just won't make me. I won't do it.
This one says Stacey Abrams appears in Star Trek. Republicans are pissed. Madison Hawthorne, Tulsi Gabbard, Pompeo, Trump, Tucker Carlson appear on Kremlin-run Russian state TV. Republicans couldn't possibly care less. Truly says it all. Yes, indeed. Those are some great tweets, by the way.
Thank you so much. I think I can see connections. I think that's another thing. I can see connections in disparate things.
Nice.
I can get lost in the airport, but I see connections in other areas. Well, it's very strange. I'm like spatially challenged. But my brain compensates in other ways. Like I can remember dates. It's actually, I remember the year that Waterloo happened, 1815. But I struggled in the Tampa airport. You know what I mean? It's just like I remember the year that Napoleon was sent to St. Elba, 1821. But I literally got lost twice in the Tampa airport. It's just so weird.
That's a good trade-off, I think.
Yeah, but but I feel like the second one.
If you could somehow apply that memory trick that you have to finding your way out of places.
Exactly. Well, I would have to have been there first. So it was my first time, and it was just I'm just directionally challenged. It wasn't the first time I got lost. It's just every time people ask me, for example, I don't know what cross. I've been here for 10 years, but if you asked me what street was to my right, I still wouldn't be able to tell you, and that's the truth. It's either Walnut or Chestnut.
Wow.
I don't know. Wow. I just can't. But I bet
you're not alone. I bet you're not alone. I said, I bet you're not alone. I bet there are many, many people. I can tell you the day that Joe Biden launched his campaign, May 19th, 2019. I can tell you the hour. I can tell you like all of these things. I can tell you the day he went to San Francisco, June 28th, 2019. That's amazing.
I can tell you all of that. I remember dates. It's almost like a disease. Remember how I told you earlier in this episode that I didn't have to take notes in history class? This is why I remember all those dates. I don't have to take notes, but I struggle directionally. It's incredible. I can't do streets.
Well, I have good news for you. For our next segment, I am not going to require you to have to remember any dates. This next segment I like to call Quick Hits. Quick hits.
I love
and
it.
Basically, this is going to touch on a few topics that are in the news, and I'm going to ask you to opine on. Ukraine. Ukraine, this has been going on almost a month now. Do you think at this point the conflict in Ukraine could possibly galvanize the country all onto the same side, or is it just another enticing target for Republicans to weaponize against President Biden?
I loved what Molly Joan Fast said about this. This is an opportunity to get rid of the orange buffoon, to cut him loose, and to denounce his praise of Putin. But the Republicans aren't doing it. They're not taking the opportunity to cut the cord. I don't know if it's the Russian campaign contributions that's like keeping them from doing this or what. But but if you look at the polling data, the vast majority of Republicans, rank and file Republicans, they're against Putin. It's the people who lead them. It's like the Madison Cawthorns of the world, the Mike Pompeos and Donald Trumps. They're the ones praising Trump. But if you ask the average voter, they're appalled by the genocide. So this is a great opportunity to finally, get rid of this menace, this orange menace from Mar-a-Lago, but they're not taking the opportunity.
Do you think this is their reluctance to jettison Trump and to make a full-throated rejection of pro-Putin politicians? Do you think that's going to backfire on them in November?
I think we have to go back to what Carville said about elections and its economy stupid. Unfortunately, I think at the end of the day, it's really going to be out
no matter what
gas prices in your wallets. I mean, to be fair, if you can't put bread on the table, it's hard to care about other things. And as unfortunate as it is, I mean, genocide for me is an earth-shattering and world-ending thing. But people have immediate concerns. So they're going to look at inflation and just see if it's tamping down. Hopefully, the Federal Reserve just raised the interest rate by a quarter point. So we'll see what the ramifications are. But people have more visceral concerns and whether schools are open. A lot of parents were upset. You're a parent, but your kids, they're out of college. But parents were really upset that their kids were home for like 2 years. So there are a lot of domestic concerns. So.
Let's talk about Hunter's laptop.
Oh, my goodness.
Hunter Biden's laptop is still not the president of the United States. Is there anything there for President Biden to worry about? Why do they keep harping on this?
Because it's juicy and it's got sex and nudity, and it's just like another, it's a Hollywood movie, and it juices their ratings. You know what I mean? It's just something very risque that they can talk about. It's a great way for Fox News to drive up its ratings. And also now they're on to Ashley Biden's diary. I mean, how gallish. How gallish. And they passed it around at a GOP fundraiser. Did you see that? They were handing this diary around. I mean, I don't
understand
even have
she words. She was in therapy, I believe.
Yeah. This is so hard. I mean, we're telling people to destigmatize mental health care, and now you're making it into, campaign dirt and weaponizing it against her father. It's really rough. It's really rough.
Here's another one of your tweets. 15 boxes of stolen states.
See, no periods.
Were found at Mar-a-Lago. Stolen gifts were from world leaders to the American people were also found in Trump's lair. 0 state secrets or stolen gifts were found on Hunter Biden's laptop. But guess which one Republicans are upset about? I mean, I don't even see, even if there is something, let's say worst case scenario, there is something on Hunter's laptop. Is there any legal jeopardy for President Biden?
No legal jeopardy. There's no indication that any wrongdoing was committed on either side. I mean, I know that Hunter has been going through some things regarding the tax payments, but that's not related to the laptop. There's nothing on the laptop that suggests any wrongdoing. That's been stated again and again.
So this is just more of Hillary's emails type shit.
Yeah, but with the nudity.
Yeah.
Hillary's
emails didn't have nudity. They didn't have.
No, they did not, and they were never hacked. The State Department was hacked. The U.S. government was hacked, but Hillary Rodham Clinton's server was never hacked. And
Okay, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Do you anticipate any significant pitfalls or problems for the judge that could derail or endanger her confirmation process?
Virginian resident Josh Hawley, who masquerades as senator from Missouri, can't stop talking about child porn all day long. Yesterday, he was talking about kiddie porn. It's the only thing that he can muster to smear this lady who is like completely impeccable. And there's, by the way, I was in tears just watching her talk about her husband and Patrick. He was like sobbing in the background. Can you just imagine? Oh, what a family. It was just beautiful. And they had nothing. This woman is literally just as qualified as you can possibly be. And She's never been charged with sexual assault, wasn't part of a Christian cult, People of Praise, was never called a handmaiden of that cult, has tried a case, isn't just a hack from the Federalist Society, isn't going to try to like control your uterus. Exactly. It's just they have nothing on her, so they have to make up this random shit.
It's manufactured outrage bullshit.
And when they have right-wing
publications
calling Josh Hawley a demagogue. So when you have people on your own side calling you out on your bullshit, you're probably doing something really wrong. It's not just us saying that Josh Hawley is just making up shit. Even, Joe Manchin, he's not really ours. Is he really ours? I don't know. Who knows? But Joe's like, I'm not buying this shit either. Joe Manchin said that. So if Joe Manchin said that, I think we're good.
Joe Manchin.
I know, but like at least on that, he's like, I'm not gonna buy Josh Hawley's BS.
Look, I am still holding my breath on Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. I know we should have that vote in the bag for the confirmation, but I'm not counting. Can't count on them anymore.
Exactly, BDD. I'm actually not going to do any mean tweets about the two of them until we get her through. I was actually just thinking about that. I don't know if you thought about that, but let's play it off.
All right.
Yeah, let's lay down our arms until she's confirmed.
I'll try.
I can't promise it. We can't. At this point, we can't risk it.
I can't.
Let's just be nice for the next couple of weeks, and then let's reassess.
Look, if they say or do something stupid, all bets are off.
Yeah, what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Just let me know.
But Joe Manchin is hinting that he's not buying Hawley's BS, so we'll see what happens there. But you're right about that. I'm not entirely sure. Oh.
So I have some Q&A, some questions from members of our audience, our viewers.
Really?
And the first one is from Brooklyn Wifey, and she would like to know, as an Asian American, do you see any actual progress in terms of stopping anti-Asian hate crimes?
Oh my gosh, thank you for asking this. Thank you. By the way, I mentioned that my mom was robbed. Someone smashed her car and took out all the cash and credit cards.
Yeah.
And we're friends with a congressman in our district, and he connected us to the police. Despite our connections, nothing was ever done. And I'm just thinking, I'm pretty well connected. And, I know people in Philadelphia. For someone like me not to have any justice, can you just imagine somebody else? And it's just, after more than a year, no one's ever been held accountable. And the guy walked off with a few $1,000s. And those few $1,000s was for my kid brother, my younger brother, who's 8 years younger than me. So that money was for him. And we actually monitored what happened to the money, and the guy used it to buy a flat screen TV using my mom's card. But it's hard because there's no accountability. And at this point, if this keeps happening, Asian Americans are going to think the police aren't going to do anything about it anyway. And then we have these Chinese American women being pushed off the subway in New York. It's just really hard, man. Like, please, can you just let us listen to bop to our music and read our books and just let us alone on the subway? Like, is that really too much to ask? But now that we don't have Pumpkin Fuhrer in the White House, I feel like things have been better. Like, we don't have Joe Biden calling it the Kun flu. I think that really helps. It really does.
Yeah.
It brings down the temperature a lot. And I haven't been called a Chinese bitch in more than a year. So I definitely count that as progress. I know that sounds like facetious, but I actually think it's victory that I don't think I've had a racial slur for more than a year. This is definitely progress.
What I think when Trump came to the surface, he brought all of the foul shit to the surface along with him, and he gave them cover. He made it okay for them to be their worst selves.
He smoked them out. Yeah, exactly.
We have another question here from Jonathan Slater.
I recognize that name, Jonathan. I think you follow me. Hey, Jonathan.
He's a good guy. Yeah. He wants to know, where do you see yourself in the landscape of American politics?
I don't know, man. As I said, it's really, We'll see what happens. And I do know that if I ever run, right now it just seems like so far in the future, but if I ever do run again, it's not going to be for shits and giggles. It's going to be to win. It's going to be like not just go big, but go Titanic. So I don't know. And it's got to be right. And I live in Kentucky. So are they really ready for someone like me with Lee as a last name? I have to be realistic
so.
here, you know?
I think
I don't
so,
want to be Pollyannish. I know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to pretend that bigotry doesn't exist. I understand.
Maybe another 8 years. Maybe they'll be ready then.
Maybe we'll drag them out of the 1850s. We'll see what happens. My goal really is to make people understand that immigrants love America just as much as everybody else. And honestly, probably even just a tad more, because as I mentioned before, we've seen what it's like on the other side. We've seen what it's like to get arrested for speaking out. My grandfather was killed by the Chinese Communist Party. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
So, and we take things for granted here. As I mentioned, my brother doesn't know. He doesn't know this. And I know firsthand, and I'm deeply grateful to be American.
We have a question from Corey Lord, who wants to know, why are the GOP enabling Trump when they don't know they're manipulated into liking him?
Or perhaps they do know, but as you mentioned, they give him cover. He gives them cover to be as nasty and racist and bigoted as they want to be. It's like a free-for-all. He unleashes all that and gives them license to be their worst selves. It's like, and it's he gives them permission to live out their nastiest fantasies. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes he makes me so deeply angry to see what he's doing to this country. He's like, and I don't know why he's still allowed to fly around in his shitty ass plane. And that doesn't even belong to him. And now he's fundraising to replace it. And he calls it Trump
I just saw some numbers today that just blew my mind. He has his PAC has over $100 million, which is more than both the DNC and the RNC combined have on hand. He has over $100 million cash on hand.
I want to say one thing. We've seen him mess with his real estate numbers. We've seen him inflate it and deflate it according to the objective. And now he's under investigation for that by Letitia James. Who knows if those numbers are true? I'm just saying, because you just never know. He's already had lifelong history of inflating those numbers. But assuming they're true, let's keep in mind that his campaign was singly responsible for 3% of credit card fraud. I tweeted about this. New York Times reported it. At one point in the 2020 election, the Trump campaign itself was responsible for 3% of the credit card fraud cases in the United States. And that's with the knowledge that political donations are such a tiny portion of the U.S. economy. So to be 3% of all fraud claims, that's just like mind-boggling. That's like next level grift. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's just truly I don't even want to say greatest con artist alive, because he doesn't deserve the epithet great. He's the biggest con artist this country has ever produced. And he also happens to be like dumb. I honestly, he's not even a really smart person. He's just, I guess you don't need
I have the best words.
Huh?
I have the best words.
The best words, the best people.
All right, Lindy. We are now up to the point in our show. This is the guessing game, right?
Oh,
and I'm going to give
you at this. I only watch TV shows.
It's fine. I'm going to give you a choice between 3 different categories, right? There's name that movie theme, or there's name that 80s tune.
Wasn't alive.
Or there's name that 90s tune.
I can probably do 90s, but can I just make an excuse for myself?
No excuses.
As an immigrant, because my parents didn't listen to Elvis Presley or whatnot, my knowledge of music begins at Britney Spears. Like, I start with Christina Aguilera, and then everything else is wiped out because I didn't have that in my house. I just want to say, in case I embarrass myself.
All right. I'm not buying that shit.
But honestly, you'd be surprised at how much rap music I listen to on a daily basis. I subsist on hip hop and R&B. Like, I was just listening to, I know Kanye is like a complete mess. Nobody likes him right now, but the album he just put out was just like magic. Jesus Lord. Have you heard that song?
I have not.
And Off the Grid. It's just the latest album. I mean, Donda, it was a good album. Okay,
so these songs are not of the 2010s. These are from the 90s, right? So if you get it right.
This screenshot was from Hotline Bling. I know that.
If you get the song right, if you guess it correctly, you'll get a meme like this. If you guess wrong, you get something like this.
I'm gonna get tons of the latter.
All right, we shall see. Here's how it works, right? I'm going to sing the lyrics as best I can, and you have to determine what is the name of the song.
This is so hard.
Okay. Here's the first one. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertain us. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we
familiar. Oh my goodness. I'm resisting the temptation to Google.
Here we are now, entertain us. No, nothing.
I wasn't kidding when I start with Baby One More Time.
Okay, so we were looking for Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
I was just born.
Unable to get that one, so we're giving you that judgy look right there.
Okay. I'm awful. But ask me about NSYNC.
All right, here's the next one. You ready for this?
No. I hope it's like later.
An old man turned 98. He won the lottery and died the next day. It's a black fly in your Chardonnay.
Oh, I know this one.
It's a death row pardon. 2 minutes too late.
Alanis. This is part of her album with Head Over Heels. And yeah, it's her amazing album. It's the one about, isn't it unironic?
That's it!
Oh my God, I actually got one. Thank you. Thank you.
You get the, what do you call it? You get the, where is it? Here
I get the Hotline Bling.
Wait, that's not it. Excuse me. Hold on. Oh, back to
I get Drizzy.
There you go. That was Ironic by Alanis Morissette. And let's see which one you get now. Yeah, no, not that one. We'll give you this one here. Yeah, you got that one. All right.
I'm proud of myself. That was a close call, that one.
It's like rain. All right, here's the next one. Miss I listen to hip hop. Here we go. Here's some hip hop for you. Hey, you, get off my cloud. You don't know me and you don't know my style. We'll be getting flammed when they come to a jam. Here I am, the blah, blah, blah. Patty cake, hey, the blah, blah, blah. Don't eat Skippy, Jif, or Peter Pan. Peanut butter, cause I'm not butter. In fact, I'll snap back like a rubber band. And I'll be Sam I am, but I don't eat green eggs and ham. No? Nothing?
I feel terrible. I'm awful. What is this? It's not like
We were looking for Method Man by.
I never would have gotten that because the only Method Man I know is the song with Christina Aguilera. Dirty, I think. Yeah. As I mentioned, like I start with Christina and Britney. And I start with Dr. Dre. Like I don't, but I did listen to Changes by Tupac last night. It's as far back as I go.
Okay, let's see. Here, I got one here. You are my fire.
Oh my God, of course. Of course. I live on the song. I want it that way. I live on the song. To this day, I live on the song. Thank you for that. That is 90s. Thank you.
Yes. And let's see. That was I Want It. No, not that one. That Way. The Backstreet Boys. Okay, let's see. I got another one for you. It's been 7 hours and 15 days.
This is the girl without hair, O'Connor.
Since you took your love away.
Nothing compares to you. And not just, it's the number 2 and the letter U. That song got me through so many. Oh, I didn't have that many nasty breakups. So it got me through one nasty breakup. Interesting.
Well done. Well done. That was Sinead O'Connor.
Good song.
So you get the SpongeBob.
I love SpongeBob.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's the last one. Last one right here. It's driving me out of my mind. That's why it's hard for me to find. Can't get it out of my head. Miss her, kiss her, love her. That girl is. No.
Can I have a hint?
That girl is never trust a big button smile. It's 3 guys. I'll give you the hint. 3 guys.
Boys to Men?
Nope. Now
you're
just guessing.
How many 3 men are there?
There's Belle, there's Biv, and there's DeVoe with the song Poison.
Oh, yeah, this is before my time, man.
This is 90s. All right, so you have an assignment. Wait, let me see. Can I'll give you one more. This one. I believe in you. You can do this. You ready?
Okay.
Down at the New Amsterdam, staring at this yellow-haired girl, Mr. Blah Blah strikes up a conversation with the black-haired flamenco dancer. You know, she dances while his father plays. Yeah, she's suddenly beautiful. Now we all want something beautiful. Man, I wish I was beautiful. So come dance.
Darling, I'm embarrassing myself, honestly.
La. Yeah. No, nothing. This was Counting Crows. Mr. Jones and me tell each other fairy tales. Stare at the beautiful women.
I'm so sorry. I really start with teen pop. I wasn't kidding about that.
That's all right. Don't feel bad.
Like that's a disappointment.
Don't feel badly. Let's see. We'll give you this one here.
Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, we have a thing that I like to call my favorite things, where I'm basically, this is rapid fire. Now, rapid fire. I'm just asking you your favorite things. There is no wrong answer for this because
Twitter personality, BDD, hands down. Follow him. I mean, you probably already are since you're here, but
well, I didn't get to that question yet.
Twitter is his kingdom, and we're all just living in
it. Okay. Favorite TV sitcom?
Oh my gosh, there's so many to choose from. And I don't like the usual answers like Friends and like The Office. I just finished House. Yeah, I know. Have you seen House?
No. I wouldn't call House. House was not a sitcom, though.
Yeah, but I
Right?
don't
It was
really
a
get the
comedy.
usual answers though. Or like what else? But House, it was like 8 seasons long. It was pretty long.
It was indeed. I would call it. Was that not a drama?
Yeah,
it was a drama, right? I need a comedy.
I did love Friends, but Friends didn't age well.
Friends.
Did not.
Friends is your answer. That's the one we're going with. Favorite movie?
Oh wow. I used to say it was A Beautiful Mind, and that line where she says, I need to believe that something beautiful is possible. She gets
Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe and
I know he's not a popular answer, but the story is about a Princeton professor, and I'm like in love.
I forget her name. Was it Elizabeth something? No.
What did you say? I actually met John Ash, the subject. He actually died in a car crash. Like the actual mathematician. He used to show up to my events. I used to be class president. He used to show up to my events for the cookies and just like take the food and not say anything. And no, everyone is welcome. He wasn't like stealing the cookies, but he was just this quiet little man just doing his math. And yeah, but he died in a car crash.
Wow.
Not long after I graduated. So it was really cool. But
yeah, that's tragic though. I mean, he died of a car crash after all that.
That mind is just incredible, extraordinary contributions. And yeah.
Favorite car?
I haven't driven a car since 2013, and you don't want me on the roads. I have to tell you, one time when I was driving, I was 15 years old. I confused the accelerator with the brake and drove into a ditch, and the car was sticking up like Titanic. I'm not even kidding. It was in my church, and I was like, I had permanent trauma from it.
Have you driven since then?
The last time I've driven was to the movie Gravity. Remember that movie from like 9 years ago? Yeah, it's been that long. You don't want me on the roads. It's a hazard. It's good. It's for everyone, for the sake of public safety. I'm where I'm supposed to be, on the ground.
Okay. Favorite singer or group?
Oh, wow. So many. So many.
Just one. Only one.
There's a difference between hate liking someone, right? You know what I mean? Like hate listening.
Yeah.
I hate listening. I shouldn't say this, but I hate listening to Taylor Swift.
You listen to her, but just to hate her?
Her music is very good, yeah. It's a very complicated relationship.
You grudgingly admire her music.
Very, very grudgingly. But I have to say, I grew up with Britney Spears, and she's changed a lot. But I listen to her because I want to support her. She's been through a lot.
Well, didn't she just get freed from that conservatorship?
Yeah, she just got freed, but now she's feuding with her family. There's drama every day, and
give that girl a break. Come on.
What did you say?
Give her a break. Give her a break.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
She's been through so much.
She has been through so much. I listen to music all day. Music is everything to me. It's very hard for me to tell you what my favorite music. I listen to everything. Like I'm a classical pianist. My piano's right here. My piano's right there. I play Tchaikovsky, Chopin, Beethoven, Mozart, and I listen to that, and then I listen to Kanye West and Drake.
You could have answered. You could have answered.
I was just listening to Nap by Eminem. Like I listen to everything.
You could have answered one of those composers too.
Music is so healing.
Okay. Favorite vegetable?
Tofu. Hands down. Because I don't eat meat and I need the protein for luscious hair.
Tofu is a vegetable?
It is. I mean, it has to be. I'm vegan. It's not meat.
Okay.
You need the tofu to get the protein that you don't get from meat.
Favorite Twitter account?
Yours. I mean, no, I don't even have to think. It's definitely yours. And when I first started here, yours was the shining star. And you're so inclusive. And I love how you tweet about politics and then you tweet about weird shit. I love it. Like, you were tweeting about M. Night, like something about like, what's your favorite movie? And I just happened to have dinner with him. And I actually tweeted a photo. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Yeah,
You had
I tweeted
dinner with M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah, I had dinner with him.
Holy
and
shit.
I replied to your tweet with the photo. I still
Oh my
have
goodness.
that.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah,
I didn't see your reply.
I never tweet photos that aren't mine. So it's easy to find if you just look at photos. So it's like my 6th picture down.
Very cool.
I love how you tweet politics and then you tweet things about life. You know, it makes everyone feel like you're their friend.
Aw.
Yeah, you are our friend. You're in our lives.
Thank you, Lindy. Cats or dogs?
Dogs. I don't know, like cats like they think that they control you, and dogs are just your friends. The only reason I haven't gotten a dog is I like waking up at weird hours, and I know the dog would be hassling me. That's really the only reason. I wake up at random hours. I'm up at like 4 sometimes, or 5, or even 6. But I just, the dog will be up at like 7 o'clock asking to be walked. But if I were allowed to like just take the dog for portions of the day, I'd be down.
Goldfish or hamster?
Oh my, you don't know this, but you just triggered childhood memories of my goldfish dying, and and then it floats at the top of the tank. That's where as a kid, that's like really sad for a kid. That's really sad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd probably have to go with the hamster just because of the memories of having to fish my fish out.
Yeah.
And then putting it in the refrigerator.
I didn't mean to unearth.
Oh
those,
no! I just had a lot of fish growing up, and they never live forever. So
yeah, those are tough pets to have.
Yeah.
Skateboard or bicycle?
Legs. 3rd option. Just as a runner, I can't tell you how much I love running. I mentioned before that it's almost ballet. I genuinely feel as though I'm dancing across the pavement. It's just, I have to tell you something. I got into a really bad, you actually can see the scars still on my elbows. This happened.
I see that.
Well, anyway, I skidded across the pavement and the skin on my knee fell off, and it got so bad that my Lululemons were torn, and people were wanting to call the ambulance. I had a crowd of people around me, and because there's blood everywhere, and I couldn't stand up. It hurt so much. But the strangers were so incredibly kind, and it was a testament to how amazing Philadelphians were. But guess what? I was a mile into my run. My arms were bleeding. My knee came off. I got up.
Stop.
And I said,
Stop. I heard you twice say your knee came off.
The skin, you could there's no more skin on my knee because I tripped, but I was running at full throttle. I run a 6-minute mile. So when I fell, I skidded across the pavement. And so, anyway, this happened a month ago, and people were trying to call 911. I was like, don't call 911. I don't want to go there. I don't want to pay like $20,000 for this. It took me like 5 minutes to get up. It just hurt a lot. You know how when something really bad happens, you need time to get used to the pain. And so I finally stood up and I turned to somebody stayed with me until I could stand up. And I turned to her. Her name's Tracy. Shout out to Tracy. But I said, you're going to think I'm crazy. But I need to carry on. I must carry on. And it's just my motto in life. BDD, we didn't even get into it, but I've been knocked down so many times in this life, but I must carry on. I ran my remaining 5 miles with blood streaming down my arm, with my Lululemon torn because of the pavement, and no knee skin. I finished my 5 miles. Next day I couldn't walk, but I finished my 5 miles. purely on adrenaline, because when you suffer an injury, you have adrenaline. But the next day, my body finally realized what happened, so I couldn't walk.
Lindy,
I'm so proud of myself for finishing my usual 6 miles. I did it, and that's just it's just like it's an analogy for how I live my life. You just got to pull through. I don't care how much it hurts. I must carry on.
I got to say, Lindy, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just about to say, if there is one story, I think, one anecdote that kind of characterizes the arc you've been on your whole life, it's that one. It's that it doesn't matter how many times you fall down, it's how many times you get back up. And
exactly.
That's your story in a nutshell, is what you've done is that, like Joe Biden likes to say, we fell down, but we got back up, you know? So Lindy, I want to thank you once again for joining me, on Storytime with BDD. Once again, I want to show everybody your Twitter handle there. You guys, if you're not following Lindy Li, you're missing some of the best tweets on Twitter right now. So there's @Lindy Li, and here is her Instagram. Its Instagram is @Lindy_Li. And Lindy, thank you so much. I'll be back with you in a minute. Let me just say a few things to my viewers here. You guys, thank you so much for joining me for another wonderful episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And if you have not yet gotten your shot, please, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and get that shot. Get your vaccine, get your booster. You might think you're done with COVID, but COVID ain't done with us yet. Huh? If you feel so inclined, wear your mask, keep your social distance 6 feet or better. And I look forward to seeing you guys Friday, same time, same place. I love you all. Peace.